Keep it together.
Got it.
Hey, I got it. I got it.
Got it.
Got it. I understand, lady in the Zoom box somewhere out there.
I like your haircut, Kathy. It's nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like you went to a salon, like you just stepped out of a salon.
I don't know, man. When you aren't able to put your hand, the blow dryer and the brush behind your head, I have no idea what they do back there.
Well, that's a bad thing. So here's my tip for that, Kathy.
Tell me.
Just put your head upside down with the
Yes.
hair dryer. Do not get your hair stuck in the hair dryer's fan as it's spinning.
Yeah, right. That hurts. Yes.
But it'll give some real fullness and definition to your hair without even having to use a brush back there. Or go like this. Hold it up like that. And then do it. And then do it like that. Or you can get a comb, you can tease it up.
Like in a beehive?
For curly hair.
Okay, for curly hair, Suzanne, I would say get some curl relaxer and do just the opposite.
Curl relaxer.
Curl relaxer.
Maybe relaxer for me, but my curls, forget it.
Yeah, it's that's what I meant. Some relaxant for you, like relax so you feel relaxed.
Oh my goodness. I'm watching somebody parallel park into a tree.
What?
Oh, they're off the curb. Try
Great.
again.
That sounds like me trying to park. That
Sounds
is
like it. No, that is me.
I've seen that.
All right. Are we ready?
I don't know. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. Folks, let's go ahead and mute ourselves.
Okay.
We'll get ready for
no
no more chit chat.
more talking about how to really give your hair some new definition.
Some lift.
Some
and
lift
body.
and definition.
All right. Is the dance collective ready? Is the choir ready? All right. Amy.
Okay. Just a moment. All right. You're going to let people in.
I am.
Juliette, you should be so happy to see. Look at the color of Juliette.
Ooh.
Ooh, see, it came out right there. Okay, here we go.
Well, it's the end of the week. Now where you been? Well, now it's Feedback Friday, so come on in. Come sit down and stare at your screen. We got a presenter that you never seen. We're Feedback Friday, we're on the loose. We'll be the train, you be the caboose. It's Feedback Friday with Kathy and Amy. Mashed potatoes and the gravy. It's Feedback Friday all day long. Feedback, feedback, Feedback Friday.
Good job, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. It is not raining. I see a little bit of blue sky, but it's going to be wild here. The weather's going to be terrible, but it's winter. It's happening. Welcome to Feedback Friday, episode 75. It's hard for me to believe. 75. That's incredible. Feedback Friday is our weekly show where we speak and meet with dyers, artists, scientists, writers, scholars, historians, activists, all sorts of amazing people from around the world about our favorite topic, which is natural dyes and dyeing textiles and color. I'm Kathy Hattori, president of Botanical Colors, and joining me is Amy Dufault from the Cape Cod outpost, where they currently have power, and she's not stuck in a little room looking like a prisoner trying to get out. And we'd like to welcome you to Feedback Friday. Today, our guest is Juliette Sallin. Juliette is from Geneva, Switzerland. So we're very fortunate to have somebody from Europe joining us today. She'll be talking about her most recent works and her research between plants, femininity, and color. So I'm very interested to hear what she has to say. Juliette studied textile design at the University of Florence in Italy, new media at the head Geneva and Kingston University, and is a two-time recipient of the Swiss Ikea Foundation Award for 2009 and 2013. Her work is absolutely beautiful and is held in private collections in Europe and North America. Before we start, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us, helping build this community. Thank you. I'm sure you all voted if you were in a voting situation. Thank you for just being with us and just kind of keeping us going as we are motoring through this time, this very special time where it's hard for us to get out and about, but we can still meet. Amy's going to be monitoring and moderating the chat and also the whole video on this call. And the chat is where you're going to post questions after Juliette's presentation, and Amy will open that up and allow you to ask many, many questions. We'll have everybody muted for the presentation, but we'll open it up at the end so we can all say hello and see how everyone's doing. Call's being recorded. You all got the message, and we'll have that available for you later on. So now, Juliette, we're going to seg into your presentation. I just want to
Yes.
welcome you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much for joining us from Geneva.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. Is it all good? Yes, perfect. Okay. So hi everyone. I'm super excited to be here. I just really want to thank Amy and Kathy for inviting me. I've been watching these videos for a long time and got super inspired. So I feel super honored to be the one who presents today. So yes, my name is Juliette. I'm Swiss and I consider myself, yes, a fiber artist. Also a sculptor, I do art installation and sometimes also photography, but the main topic is, it's fiber design. So I've been working with plants as my main subject since the beginning, and I am really fascinated by the way we perceive nature through our senses, our body. So I translate this interest into sculpture and with semi-abstract plant shapes that I use as archetypal and multisensory images of our emotion. I mainly work with silk, like 95% of the time. Otherwise, I happen to use paper or wood as well. And much of my process is dedicated to the plant dyes. I use leaves, flowers, bark, roots, and to give the fabric a particular vibration, because I think that plant pigments are super vibrating, and that fascinates me. And I like to use it to create an even more immersive experience with my work. Most recently, my work is revolving around the use of plants imagery as a representation of the woman's inner and corporeal existence. Eroticism, desire, fertility, maternity, miscarriage, fragility, impermanence, and death as well. So the sculpture then become an embodied and sensual metaphor of the different facets of my life as a feminine being. Okay, so just a disclaimer, I'm not a scientist, and the way I use dyes is very intuitive, very messy. I don't have a logbook. I tried to have one, but it didn't last very long. And so I will try after to answer your technical question as good as I can, but you know, sometimes I don't remember even how I did some dyes. So also I would like to say why I use plant dyes, because I think the reason is different for each artist. Some of them want to be, you know, to talk about their land, the history of the land. Most of them want to be more sustainable. And I guess this is my case, but also because I love the serendipity of these dyes. Always dyed, but I used to dye with synthetic pigments before because I was kind of like a control freak. So I really liked the way that, you know, you have this synthetic dye and you know that every time you get the same color, like being, you know, on September or March, or, you know, you always get the same color. That was really nice and at least for me reassuring. And then the more I worked with the theme of nature, ecology, our relationship with plants, then I really shifted, and then I realized that it made no sense for me to work with synthetic dyes. And I use now plant dyes for the exact opposite. Like I like its unpredictability sometimes. I play with it. For me, it's alive always. It has its own personality. It's like a very sexy character, you know, and she does what she wants, and you can't really tame her. And she just gives this beautiful and seductive, vibrant color. And I really like to play with that. And my process is, the technical process of it is quite simple. I choose first the plants. I get inspired by a certain plant. Here is safflower. I'm fascinated by safflower and the color it gives, and all the process it gets to, you have to do in order to get that pink. And so I do the bath, I dye my clothes, my piece of silk, and then after that I get inspired by the color that really like influence my decision on the shapes that I want to make. So I do very simple shapes. I cut them in multiples for a very long time. It's kind of meditative. And then I assemble, and then I do several of them and do the composition. But it's not something that I predict way before. It's more a work that I do in the moment. And everything involves me really in the moments, like a very conscious composition. So this is the little introduction about the work, but now I really would like to talk about plants, femininity, and colors. So these are the 3 themes that I'm working on right now, and I thought that it would be interesting to share what an artist is working a little bit like behind the scene before everything is figured out. So yes, let's be vulnerable and talk about my work. And I think it will be interesting for you also to learn all the process. And you know, I also would like to know what you think about it. We can have a little conversation at the end. That would be nice. So it all started with 2 essays that I read, and I came across an essay about artistic genre that existed in the Victorian age in the United States that was called floral female genre. And that was really fascinating. It was really at the moment, at the beginning of the emancipation of women, and it was a frightening moment for some. And some painters decided to make this work to really put the woman at her right place. So they use the technique of impressionism, as you can see, and they always depicted women surrounded with plants and flowers, and in a technical way that you can't really sometimes distinguish what is the plants and who is the woman, because back then the flowers was considered only something decorative, fragile, and also something a bit stupid. And so they wanted to to make this analogy with the perfect woman being someone very delicate and not thinking a lot. And this here is another example that you can really see, like these gowns, like really replicating it in the shape, the shape of the flowers. Even the umbrella reminds of the leaves. So all this very sweet scenery reminds everything that the woman is a plant. But the interesting thing is when you think about it, a flower, what it is the sexual part of a plant, actually, with the pistils, the ovaries, everything. So it was a bit contradictory to express the pureness, the ingenuity, and the innocence of a woman with something very erotic and sensual. So some of them really decided not to paint pistils or something to make the flower purer and more innocent. And other painters, more cheeky, really played on this erotic aspect of the flowers and suggested very erotic scene, but only with flowers that could tell the real story. As the painting that you're seeing now on the right, you're guessing that they're gonna have an intercourse or something by the vase, like that has fallen down on the table and everything. So this essay really caught my interest. And another one, very, very different. I discovered the feminist writer, an American writer, Audre Lorde, and she wrote a fantastic essay, Uses of the erotic as power. And she's going to define, I'm going to read some excerpts of her describing us what is desire and what is eroticism for her. So the very word erotic comes from the Greek word eros, the personification of love in all its aspects, born of chaos and personifying creative power and harmony. When I speak of the erotic, then, I speak of it as an assertion of the life force of woman, of that creative energy empowered, the knowledge and use of which we are now reclaiming our language, our history, our dancing, our loving, our work, our lives. Another important way in which the erotic connection functions is the open and fearless underlining of my capacity for joy. In the way my body stretches to music and opens into response, hearkening to its deepest rhythms, so every level upon which a sense also opens to the erotically satisfying experience, whether it is dancing, building a bookcase, writing a poem, or examining an idea. And that deep and irreplaceable knowledge of my capacity for joy comes to demand from all my life that it is believed within the knowledge that such satisfaction is possible and does not have to be called marriage, nor God, nor an afterlife. And yeah, it is, these two essays really, it's not that it transformed my work, but it really allowed me to see my practice in another way and in a very interesting way. And when we think about that, I mean, like, we are here, and I think like 99% of the audience is female today, and most of us die with plants or do something with plants. So we women, I think that we have kind of like a special relationship with plants, and since the beginning of the beginning, and just think about witches. I mean, and this is, I don't know, it really, like, it scared people that this, us being powerful and you know, being independent and playing, doing our little magic with plants and transforming something. I mean, now I'm talking with dyes, but you know, giving another life to something that is dead. Like it's like holding the power of life, death, and rebirth. And it is really beautiful, but it can be also frightening for some people. I don't know. So these are just questions that I ask myself, and these are open questions. I don't have an answer already, but this is the kind of topics that I'm working on right at this moment. And starting from the first lockdown, so back in March, April 2020, where we were all confined in our home, and I was back then living in a small town, and the small town was surrounded by grapeseed crop, and then it started like a big rain or tempest, so all the pollen flew and started covering all the streets and the cars and the window, and everything was so yellow. And it really struck me, because I mean, like, I was thinking, oh, they're thriving, they're having the best fun, and we are here inside all secluded. So I wanted to create a little series about this, and I wrote a little piece that I'm reading to you. So there was this curious paradox between our rules of social distancing, the real danger of contamination, and the plant Kingston vital impulse to mix with everything. Its pollen carried by the wind, settling on the animals, landing thousands of kilometers away, its scents diffused in the atmosphere, with odorous molecules penetrating our nostrils and lungs. For this current series, I seek to reactivate this therapeutic experience by creating a sensorial plant reminiscent environment. Matter and color are expressed with floating sculptures, recalling here and there a cluster, a bundle of pollen, a handful of pistils, and few layers of petals. In this space, in contact with the sculptures, we can get very close and find an intimacy with the outside world, which comforts and heals us. And so this area I called in Spring Communion, and I created this kind of little cluster, as you see, and I wanted to, I don't know, express pollen or something. And I wanted the sculpture to be very, very light, and to almost like transcend the environment, to not to have like a direct differentiation or straight differentiation between the sculpture and the environment, but something like that really can mix with everything, and with very comforting color, and you know, to make the life a little bit sweeter, I guess. And these are the other two. So in my search of connection with nature, I wanted to create some apparel. So I just must say, so my background is in textile design, and I worked in fashion, where in the academic. So I was a researcher in that area. And so I'm very influenced by costumes and apparel and accessories, things like that. And I was looking at some shamans, some living in Siberia, and I guess other ones like using devices and apparel to help them connect with another realm, for example, with a plant spirit, a certain spirit of an animal or something. So it had like this very symbolic charge. And I thought, okay, I want to make something that can help me communicate with the spirit of plants. And I made these head pieces or mask that cover your eyes. You shut your eyes, but it's kind of like you have to open your inside eye or your heart inside in order to get more conscious. And the way you move your head make the headpiece slightly like strikes you and caress your face. So you have like this very delicate sensation, like a very hypnotic, that really make you dive into another state of consciousness. And maybe you can after that talk with the spirit of a plant. So I made this mask and these are the two. And I intend to make more. Another accessories like gloves and maybe even something bigger. I don't know. We'll see. And then looking back at what I've been reading, like about the floral female painting, how women are associated with plants and flowers, but at the same time, the reading of Audre Lorde and how powerful we can be when we take pleasure in doing our things, you know, and doing our work. And I wanted to make some experiments and to be really playful, to really take pleasure in what I was doing. And so I started to, you know, a bit shy, but, you know, I put a little very light elements on the shoulder and taking some pictures. And then I liked it very much. And then I thought, okay, let's take it to another level. And then I took a lot of my plant elements and put it on the body. On purpose, I didn't show my face because I wanted to be to show something more archetypal, like the archetype of a very powerful female, and who is like melting and mixing with plants and things, and feeling very empowered. So these are questions, and it was really funny because I didn't feel like weak or stupid as these painters thought it would be when I played with the plants. So yeah, so this also is ongoing, and I will make more pictures, I guess, in the future. And this is an ongoing installation. I started it like 1 year ago, and I add elements, and I don't know, maybe will be something really huge, and one day I will say, okay, that's enough, and you know, I don't know. And I also wrote something about it that I would like to read to you. Flora healing is a story about seeds, pollination, desire, fertility, decay, and artificiality. It is also my personal attempt to understand the fragility of the world, its underground strength, and all that cannot be controlled. The shapes are reminiscent of a hybrid of plants and human systems. A cluster of pollen, embryonic seeds, pistils, and female reproductive organs. Silk material is dyed in my studio and is an allegory to the fragile but powerful beauty of the plant world. The crimson colors found in the lower part of the installation come from parasitic cochineal and chemically created dyes. Slowly, moving upwards, the colors change, freeing themselves from the artifice. Hibiscus and logwood convey bright, colorful, but frivolous pigments, changing and evolving according to the water's pH. When we reach the top, the light pink hues represent a heavenly and fragile halo made of safflower pigments disappearing after a few weeks in direct contact with light. Flora healing represents upward mobility from weighted permanence to ephemeral naturalness. for this installation, the two technique that I use is just, doing the dye bath, just dyeing the fabric, then cutting the piece, assembling it, and to create the gradients, I just dip the elements into a bath, just like this. And also decided to use a bundle dye technique. So for this, I use hibiscus, turmeric, logwood as well. And I really like the texture that I use to make this kind of grapey things that look like maybe foxgloves or something. And here are some detailed shots of the installation that you can really see like the resemblance of some, organs and plant organs as well. Maybe this is more striking, I don't know. And this past summer, I was invited to show for a gallery in Geneva, and this was like a white cube that you could see from the street, and I was available like 24/7. And I decided to dismantle all the installation and to really create something with a lot of space, with all this tiny element like floating meteorites of my feelings and sensations and question that I'm asking myself, to make something really poetic and soothing. And later on, still last summer, I did like a short residency of 2 weeks in Spain, in Andalusia, and to experiment with their local plants. I didn't take into consideration that that was going to be that hot, and most of the plants were really dry. But I managed to find some like eucalyptus. So I took the leaves and the bark, and also a plant I just translated in English. I didn't know the name. Is a stinking willy that I found there, and I really focused my work on these two plants, and again also hibiscus. But the thing that was really, really inspiring to me is, nature, how it can be at the same time both fragile and also aggressive, because the environment made you be that way. And most of the plants, they have like very these stingy shapes, like, in order to defend themselves, but they were also so dry that, they could break like this. And there was like this blinding light and this heat and everything. It was really, really beautiful, and I really wanted to capture all these concepts into dyes and fabric. So I really focused on making 2D works and no 3D sculptures, because I didn't have time enough to do sculptures. So I really wanted to transcribe this heat and light and fragility, and with this very washy colors, almost like I don't know, burnt by the sun. And I did like a small collection of this, and I must say it's the very beginning of a new work I'm working on right now, and it's going to be only in 2D, and I will be working with pigments and how they react with another, and really the space in between, pigments, like the space in between in our personal life, the way we feel sometimes very lonely and disconnected, and sometimes we just slightly balance into the other way, like feeling whole again and connected to the plant, the earth, or to other human beings and everything. So I'm not showing this this evening, but I'm going sharing this very soon on my Instagram, and I really would like to have your take, or what you think about them later, if you happen to to follow me and, have a discussion with you as well with that. So that's it. That's my presentation. Thank you for listening to me. And yeah.
Juliette,
Goodbye.
thank you so much. Yes, you can stop sharing your
Yes.
screen,
Okay.
and then Amy's going to open it up for chat. But I
Right.
just wanted to say it was really fascinating to see the whole flowering of femininity and the way it was shown in these types of paintings that were, of course, painted mostly by men. Yeah, about women who were very delicate and not too smart, but yet still intense objects of desire.
Of
That
desire.
was fascinating. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amy, I'm going to hand that over to you now to ask Juliette questions, and then
Okay.
we'll start our discussion. Thank you, Juliette.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juliette. Let's make sure I have you all spotlighted. Nope, yeah, I do. Okay, great.
Okay.
And I was just writing down after Kathy just said that. Have you come across any women who have who painted women as gentle flowers? Or was it always women? I mean, men painting women in that way?
Yes, there were always men painting women that way, but in this period, there were also women painters, but they were expected to paint flowers and
Delicate
not
flowers.
other delicate flowers of scenes of I don't know, but all the scenery, like a huge landscape scenery, were more for men, but some women started to do that as well.
Okay, I want to just jump in with some questions here. So Dorothy wants to know, what is your favorite fabric and what did you use for your very small pieces?
It's always silk, satin. It's always satin. I don't know. I'm obsessed. I'm monomaniac with silk satin. Why? First, because it's I'm lazy and it's really easy to dye with silk. You don't have to do much. Sometimes you don't even have to use mordant or anything. But satin, it also like this luminosity that really enhanced the color even more, and it's fascinating. And silk is a natural material, and it also have this aliveness. You know, when you have a big piece of silk, in the end, it sometimes it moves, it shivers, and I like this aspect.
Let's see, Judith is saying, your series from Spain remind me of Monet's work in color and his focus on capturing light. What do you think of Georgia O'Keeffe's work?
Oh, I love Georgia. She's really inspiring, and her take on flower is inspiring to me, because she did it not like as people expected her to paint. She did her own thing. I love that she decided to live on her own, and I guess was it in Texas, or where was she?
New Mexico.
New Mexico, sorry. And New Mexico, and she never said. What is strange to me is she never agreed saying that her flowers resemble female genitalia. For her, that was never the aim of doing this. For her, it was more like getting into the spirit of this plant, and in a very meditative way. And maybe it became very sensual and erotic, because maybe she was a very sensual and erotic woman herself. I don't know.
Yeah, Kathy's shaking her head. I was just in New Mexico, and I thought I was going to go to the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, but then I thought I can't believe I talked myself out of it, that it was too cliche to do. that I would go look for the plants that maybe that she painted and have my own experience with the desert rather than her dictating what I should be seeing or something. It was kind of weird,
Yeah.
but okay.
Understand that.
Yeah. Nancy's asking, have you studied the floral paintings of Chinaware and the tradition of the women who worked that way?
No, not at all. No, I'm not aware of this. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down so we can, I'll do a little research on it, Nancy.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
put it in. Yeah. Okay, Sarah, this is fascinating and inspiring. I work with flowers and so appreciate the sensuality in your work. So, so beautiful. How did you get the rigidity in your fabric for the lavender purple headpiece?
Oh, it's in paper.
Oh,
The one which is darker.
yes.
Yes, it's paper. This one is paper. That's why.
Okay. We have people who are mentioning things that are just that they love your work, but hold on, listen. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Hillary, I'm intrigued by your new work and your use of dyes, particularly the way you're letting your dyes take their own course, and wondered if you could speak to how this relates to the work. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this work.
Thanks. I don't know if I have the right words already for that, because I'm still like really experimenting with this. I love the process of it, to let things go, and the work in itself, it's choosing the colors that I want to work with, preparing the fabric with the mordant, doing the dye bath, and also preparing the ink if it has to be more intense. And then I lay the fabric on the floor and I humidify it. And then with a sponge, I just, let drops of ink mix with the fabric, with the wet fabric. And sometimes I see reaction. For example, I don't get the same colors or the same effect if I put logwood first and then hibiscus, then first hibiscus and then logwood. And it's really fascinating the way they interact with each other. And on some of them, it really creates like a little bit of shadow, and you have like this a little bit of a texture of three-dimensional aspects on the fabric. But I'm really gonna post it on Instagram very, very soon, so you will see what I'm talking about.
And I put your Instagram in the chat, but I will definitely, of course, and it's already in the RSVP. I had people linking, I mean, a link there
Okay,
for your Instagram
great.
and your website, but I will make sure I have it in your video post too.
Nice. And also I would say, so I see in this, so for this series, I will talk about, our sense of self. And sometimes, during the day, or also maybe in a stressful moment, we can lose our sense of self. And for me, it's also a work of getting back to my own identity. And all this happens. And most of the time, it just happens when I work with my body, when I'm more with my body than with my mind. And the way I work with plant dyes, it's something very sensual, but sensual in a way that is like, that I use all my senses doing this. And that really helps. And yeah, and it creates some kind of like emotional landscapes that I found interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kathy will love this question that I have. Do you like how random it is with the dyes? Now you do, because you were talking before about the control and having that control with the synthetics, now working with the natural dyes. But do you ever weigh things? Are you ever trying to replicate? kind of weigh the fabric or weigh that know the amount of dye that you're using?
Yes, I weigh the fabric for the modern, of course. I have my recipe, that is that I apply every time for this. Then the thing is, like, I don't work with not a big array of different dyes at the same time. So for the moment, I'm very focused on 2-3 dyes. So it's easier for me to remember how I did things. Although, like, I don't have this logbook and I write all the things. I know by experience, by doing it again and again and again, the kind of effect I can have. Like, it's not 100% something, that I let. I take some decisions as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like creating the frame, and I have my actors. I know their personality. I did I have the scene, the stage, and then I let them play a little,
I love that. Love that image of it all. I think so for so many people that there's this like need to control and not to let the dyes sort of play together. I just started working with paper more. And somebody had asked what kind of paper, by the way, that you had used, but I think there's so much freedom just in kind of not measuring and not weighing sometimes and watching how things interact. Yesterday, we have a class going on actually right this minute with Samantha Barone, and working to see how rust is working with our different dyes, the students who use it. But it's like, it's just so incredibly exciting to see how they are working together, and it's always a surprise.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful. And I understand that sometimes when we see something on the internet or somewhere else, and we find this color beautiful and we want to replicate it because it's beautiful, but we don't achieve that, or we don't manage that at the first time. It can be frustrating. Mm-hmm. I understand, and this happened to me too. So, but sometimes, there are like some happy accidents that we can embrace a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Patricia wants to know, what is the scale of your hanging pieces?
Oh, the scale it's I think it's but I would say in meters. I'm sorry. So it's
Kathy's like, it's okay.
So
we can do metric.
Okay, thank you, because I'm not good with inches and stuff. So it's 2 meters something, and of 8, and on I think 80 or 1 meters large. And the depth, it depends. Like I think it's 50 in depth. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you. Those masks that you made, I mean, are they like, it's just it's more of an art piece. It's not something that you're, with your background in textiles, I mean, fashion, apparel, that's not something that you're thinking that people are going to be wearing to something. It would be very hard, obviously, to wear, but I think they're just so beautiful. You can see through them. It's like a hat, a great hat.
I would like maybe to do a performance one day with it, maybe during an art opening, me or other people wearing this mask, or, doing a little, art performance with it. But otherwise it's more considered like something, like a sculpture.
Mm-hmm. Something I was wondering about too, the awards you got from IKEA. Can you talk more about what that is? It was in your bio. That's why I had grabbed it.
Yes, yeah. Well, IKEA gives grants for people having projects, but projects more in the experimental phase. And back then, I was still a student, and I did my master degree in something very different, in the integration of new technology and new media in fabric. So I was working with interactive systems and electronics and things like that. and I had some projects, and one of them was to create a dress that could change colors depending on the emotions and things like that. So I asked some funding from IKEA to, you know, to found, I say found 4 times, to fund the research about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is because, you know, my background is in design, is with the years that I became more art oriented. This is why, you know, my research were more design based before.
Mhm. And I find too that there's less IKEAs that want to support something that's talking about eroticism and natural dyes, and not with
Yeah,
things that
I
have
think so,
lights
yeah,
and
maybe.
wires and have technology imbued or embedded within it all. It seems like yeah. Julia says, I appreciate your commitment to trusting your intuition and the intuition of your natural materials. Throughout our modern times, women have been taught to distrust their intuition and the intuition of nature itself. So thank you for your work.
Totally.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
certainly. Does anybody else have any questions for Juliette Sallin? Sallin? I kept saying Sallin, but it's Sallin.
So,
I like how Kathy, when we were practicing how to say your name, she started moving her body in different ways, and Juliette Sallin.
Juliette Sallin.
Salam.
Sallin.
It's nice the way you say it too. I like it too.
Well, yeah, everybody, I mean, there's other comments I haven't read that people just really love what you've done and appreciate what you're doing and the connections that you're making. And I certainly appreciate them as well. Like definitely our first time having a conversation like this on Feedback Friday, but that's the fun of Feedback Friday. We don't know, you know,
Nice.
not everybody knows the conversation's going to be around natural dyes, but it's always a new and fresh perspective on it. So thank you for bringing that today to it.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very
it's
much.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you for
All right.
inviting me.
Of
Yeah.
course. So what's next is we're going to talk a little bit about announcements, and then we'll open it up for everybody to say hello and goodbye. So just some reminders. We we launched our Feedback Friday. Oh, you can see all my little masks are showing. Our Feedback Friday holiday market with many of our Feedback Friday presenters, and there'll be more who will be joining us. So we're very excited about that. But I just wanted to showcase a couple of different things. One is Babs Behan is doing her Bristol cloth, and I actually bought some of this fabric. I helped her with the first iteration of it, which had a kind of an orangey rust colored madder stripe on it. And she now has a second run that has a golden yellow stripe from Fustic, but this is all British wool. It's hand dyed, but the wool itself, this part is all the natural color of the fleece, and then the hand dyed part is the natural dyed stripe. It's a really beautiful cushy wool, and they have it, I believe, on the site as like a blanket scarf as well as a regular scarf, and this size is more similar to the size of a blanket scarf, and I use it as a throw, and it's great because it's cushy and thick and it's warm, but it's not super heavy. And so if you're interested in that, Babs is actually shipping those directly from Bristol, and so those are on the site. The other thing,
the other thing that's cool about it, Kathy, too, I feel like we're doing the home shopping network. Sorry, guys.
yes.
Oh my God, what's happening here?
Wait, I got to get my arms positioned correctly.
I'm going to put a link to this also in the video post, because Babs did a lot of work for how she made that scarf, you know, working with the farm fiber shed and the natural dyes, and creating a
regenerative,
whole new supply chain in her area to make this a real, like, small carbon footprint to make that scarf. It is number one, like Kathy said, like very luxurious and beautiful, but it's also has a really great story. And when you do purchase them, you do support Babs and the continuing of her work, working with fiber farmers in the UK.
Right. And the reason it's called Bristol cloth is because it basically is generated and created around Bristol, England, which is southwest England. And so the farm is nearby, the mill that did the spinning and the actual weaving mill, they have just reopened that mill, or they're either building it back up or it's reopened, but it's, you know, it's a 150-year-old enterprise that is now being it now has new life because there are new projects being woven on it. So again, just like everything else is these, you know, these kind of people who are looking to their local area and what's coming out of it and what can we help support. So this is a great project. So, and she also has this cashmere thing that is just way too interesting. English cashmere, dyed with indigo and madder, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's also really a luxury purchase, but it is a gorgeous piece. So check out Babs, and hopefully there's something interesting there for you. The other thing is I have my favorite little brand new notebook from Lotta Helberg. And Lotta, as many of you know, had a Feedback Friday a few weeks back, and she talked about this really, I think, a very beautiful and evocative way of doing botanical printing. That, you know, everyone who does botanical printing has their own sort of signature on it, but hers really spoke to me. And so I ended up buying this. And I like the way that she kind of looks at a large scale process. So as you can see, I just felt like that was as geographic as it was botanic. And the cool thing about this is it's actually usable. It's a Moleskine notebook in the middle. And so you can just keep changing out the notebook and keep reusing this beautiful notebook cover. So take a look at those. Those are real super interesting. And Amy, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about your Samantha Verone experience.
Like the Jimi Hendrix experience, but the
Exactly.
Samantha Verone
Yeah,
experience.
it is a Jimi Hendrix experience.
Yeah, it is kind of because she goes foraging all over New York City and wherever she is. I can't look at rusty things ever the same again.
Right.
And a couple of people are asking in chat if we're going to have another Samantha Verone class, which I hope so, because people really, it was a great class, 3-hour class yesterday. But yeah, I wanted to show you kind of her process too. I got this little, let me see. I didn't get that right. Hold on. Hold the phone here. I was getting stuff for showing you guys something else. I get carried away showing things and putting stuff in chat. Let's see. Share screen. Yeah. So here's Samantha's work here, which this is just kind of showing you the process. Like it's going to show you over and over about rust dyeing. But what Samantha does is, and what we're selling on our site, we have these beautiful flour sack towels. Is that what they're called, Kathy? Flour sack. But they're really beautiful, and they have these rusty objects as part of it. So
yeah, she designed one with a large drill bit. So it's got this funny little kind of diagonal mark through it, which is really fascinating. And then another one with little circular, maybe washers or some sort of flat circular motif. So super interesting. Those are on the site as well.
Yes, Miss Polly. Yes. There's definitely a Samantha Verone Feedback Friday. So anybody who's on our Feedback Friday holiday market page, they're all people that have presented somewhere over the past 75 episodes that we've had. So Samantha actually there's a really good Feedback Friday of Samantha, and she shows lots of examples of how she just uses rust, how she forages, how she, like yesterday,
builds community.
Oh my God. We had a woman that was in the class yesterday who was actually working at a dermatologist, signed up for the class and had a mask on and a white jacket in the office and was watching off to the side the Feedback Friday. The Samantha Verone rust dyeing class.
Oh,
Kathy, I didn't tell you that yet. It was the most.
A dental hygienist, did you say?
No, a
Oh,
dermatologist.
dermatologist.
She's like looking at somebody's mole and suddenly going, hold on. Let me do some rust dyeing.
No,
Yeah,
no.
but anyways, yeah, Samantha, we have some of our things that are up on the site too. They're just really small runs of things. We don't have tons. We do have a lot of like Alabama Shannon, pattern
Stencils and
stencils and
patterns.
bundles.
Yeah.
Anyways, I put the link in there. We don't have to
Yeah.
keep going about this. Just
Yeah, have fun with it.
yeah, just have fun exploring and there'll be more classes that will be going on that we're going to put in there. There's going to be more Feedback Friday people. They're just trying to wrap up, getting some things together special
Some
for
details.
us. So each week we'll be adding more to the market page, and hopefully we'll just keep it going, and it'll go from being the holiday market page just to the Feedback Friday market. And suddenly you'll be able to purchase Juliette Sallin installation pieces and masks.
Masks, that'll be fun.
Masks.
Two last things. One is thank you, Amy. So that's our Feedback Friday market pitch today. We also finally got our restock of hemp fabrics. So we have both firsts and seconds of hemp towels. We have firsts and seconds or irregulars as they're marked on the website of yardage. We also have these really cute little towels that I was showing Amy earlier, that a bunch of people over the years, I guess, wove but never actually used. So they're still on the roll, and we're just cutting them as people are buying them, and you can hem them yourself. And it's a quick and easy little handmade gift that you can participate in, but they're just charming. So those are on the site as well. And Kristen Arts, our wonderful friend from Scrambles Quilts, has a clay resist dyeing workshop. And in this workshop, you get both a clay resist kit as well as all the indigo fixings in order to make a 1,2,3 fructose fat. That she has another technique where she mixes everything beforehand and then puts it into water, and it's pretty fast. And so that's happening in January. I don't remember the dates, but it's happening like mid-January. And we'd be really pleased if you want to join us for that. Kick off your new year with a really fun paste resist class with Kristen. And that's kind of it, except for next week's guest, who is one of my most favorite people, Porfirio Gutierrez. Porfirio has been like running around doing amazing installations, exhibitions, and he's also reestablished his, because of COVID, he's reestablished his studio in Ventura, California. So I think he's just going to be returning from Oaxaca when he joins us. He might actually be there right now. And we'll be having a trunk show with him after his presentation. So if you have been like lusting after a Porfirio Gutierrez carpet and rug or textile, it is your time next week. So join us then, and we'll get to chat with him and see what he's been up to. Amy, anything else?
I just want to say I'm excited for next week, because
Yeah.
if you saw Porfirio at the first Feedback Friday, which was beautiful and one of my all-time favorites, we had a really great conversation. I was sitting in a Marshall's parking lot, and he was telling me all this stuff, but I wasn't shopping at Marshall's, by the way. I was just sitting there listening to him. I had to.
Getting free Wi-Fi.
Getting free Wi-Fi. But he's going to be talking about what it's like for him as an artist that is now based in Ventura and not Oaxaca, and how he's looked at differently as an artist because of that. That I think is so interesting. Yeah, he'll be
He's not
talking about
Oaxacan
that.
anymore, even though he's still.
Oh, like, it's not as cool that he's in Ventura. And so
Yeah.
people are interpreting him differently, but all the work he's also doing with Dreamers and passing on his knowledge of weaving as well as natural dyeing.
Yeah.
So
Super fascinating.
it'll be if you saw the last one, it's going to be similar, you'll hear some things that are similar, but it's a whole new conversation. And then of course, yeah, we'll have that great trunk show and tour of his studio,
Which is super beautiful, by the way. I think
Yeah.
some of you have seen it. It's just absolutely amazing. Okay, let's just go ahead and unmute and say hi to everybody.
And
Thank
thank
you
you,
so
Juliette.
much. Juliette, thank you so much.
Thank you, Juliette. Beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Juliette.
Thank you so
Lovely
much
work.
for
Thank you so
coming. It
much,
was a beautiful
Sherry.
presentation. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juliette.
Hi, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank-
Bye.
Thanks.
Did
Thank
I? Oh,
you.
good. We are
It was
recording. Okay,
great.
great.
Yeah.
We are recording, yes.
Thank God. Sort of blanked out there. All right, good.
Thanks, Juliette. That was so
Yeah,
good.
Thank you. It
So
was
different.
really,
Thank you very much for inviting me. That was really nice. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks for
Wow, it's just beautiful.
later. What
It
time
was-
is it? Is it 6 o'clock?
Now it's 6. Yeah, now
Now
it's
it's-
6, 7. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we almost had a Juliette not show because of the time change. Because
Oh, and then we change our time next week. So
no, like this weekend. I
this
think, don't
weekend.
we?
Oh my
Ah,
God.
you're gonna change this weekend
Yeah, I don't
ah,
understand why you've already
that's why.
changed, but
because we did in Europe last weekend. That's why
Yeah.
there was this misunderstanding, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah. Juliette, where are you? I'm here. I'm waiting for you.
I don't know why we do that. I think
No, you're like, why? Why are
especially
you
for
waiting
us
me?
here in the because we're so far north, like it starts getting dark at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, so early.
Because I think we're about the same as the Netherlands,
Mhm,
you
mhm,
know, same
mhm.
latitude. So it's super dark, super quickly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you have very long days in summer.
Very long days. Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
We live for the summer.
Yes.
All right. Okay, Amy, I am going to run away. Do you want
I'm
to
gonna
hang?
run away
Okay,
too.
good. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.